Hi, this is Judy Baston, and I am going to talk about today our plagiarism topic this week. For your assignment, you will be doing a case analysis of a plagiarism case. So I want to talk a little bit about what plagiarism means to Southwestern. And one of the things that students kind of get confused about is the standards for Southwestern are that you use no block quotations, meaning you can't take a huge paragraph and quote it. That's considered patchwork writing and is not, oops, sorry about that, is not considered actual scholarly writing and could be considered, even though you're quoting, not necessarily considered plagiarism, but not a good use of your sources. Southwestern wants to see you synthesize those sources into your own writing, which means using some quotations, small quotations, but mainly using paraphrasing and summarizing. Last week, I provided a link to the meaning of all of those and how to do those. Go ahead and go back to that announcement and you pull that up. The other thing I want to talk about too is when you're putting all these sources in, you practiced this last week, synthesizing by putting in-text citations with your citations. So now you need to add those into your paper as you're writing. It's sort of a map. The in-text citation leads to the citation leads to the full source. So all of those need to be correct and in the right place. What a lot of students don't understand with APA is how to, that actually when you're paraphrasing and putting an in-text citation in, every sentence should have an in-text citation if it is not your own work. And so I'm going to show you, I have this link down at the bottom, but I'm going to kind of go over this by sharing my screen with you. So this is the link I have down below. It's from, can I use one citation at the end of a multiple sentence paragraph? Do I have to cite every sentence? So they show an example of the good, the bad, and the ugly. So the bad is here. This person, this is all from one source. It's not their own work. They're getting this information all from another source, and they just put one in-text citation. That's bad. Correct, but as I say, ugly is, notice for after each sentence, they have an in-text citation. That's correct, but it's very hard for the reader. So what's a little better is doing a signal phrase, mentioning the author's name. So notice here, according to a recent study by Williamson, so they have the author's name, and then right after that, they put the date. So instead of having here like a regular in-text citation where you have the author's name, comma, date, they have the author's name in the sentence, the date in parentheses behind, and so it introduces this information, and then here, then they have it here at the end too for the next sentence. That's a little easier. You can also, here they have it, person states, and then relates, states, whatever, and then the rest of that information you know is from that other author, and you don't have to have the in-text citation at the end. This one is being a little more specific. If you have page numbers, then you could put the page number at the end. So those give you an example of what you shouldn't do, what you should do, but it's not that great, and how to kind of make it a little bit better. So you might want to follow that with your in-text citation. The last thing I want to talk about is your plagiarism case study. You will be following the template there. It gives you an example, so you follow that. So it's not quite like a paper, but it is in a way, because you have to synthesize your sources. You have to do a citation and an in-text citation. What what you have to also do is how Southwestern checks for plagiarism is by using Safe Assign. So when you submit this, it will go through this software, and it will let you know how much. It gives you a percentage of how much you plagiarize. Now, I've had students freak out because they have 5%, 10%, and honestly, I don't worry about that. That is normal to have uh, something copied, because sometimes there's just phrases that in your topic you just keep using. Don't worry about that. If it gets up into 40, 50%, then you need to look at it. It will, if you use block quotes, it will show those and make a comment on those, which is because we don't want to have that. So look at that a little bit. Make some adjustments if you need to. This plagiarism case study is, again, it's not exactly like the paper, but it is sort of a practice. So you can say, oh, I used this, I didn't use this, I didn't cite this correctly. So think of this kind of as a practice for the next week when we're actually talking about your topic and your synthesizing those sources into a full-fledged research paper. So I hope this was helpful, and let me know if you have any questions.